The resistance is about planning your work and working your plan. Hi, this is Dr. Anita with another diamond moment. The diamonds of our lives are created through time, heat, and pressure. But it is what we do with these situations that determines their value. It's time to put your plan together and determine what you're going to do now that we're in the position that we have to FAFO. We talked about last time the outcome of the most recent presidential election. How many Americans determined that they were on the outside looking in and not realizing that they were and are the core of everything. It's extremely hard for someone to drive you when you refuse to be driven. It's extremely difficult for someone to do something to you when you refuse that onslaught. And we've seen it over and over and over through history that there is a point of taking a stance. We talked about this last time related to the spiritual side of resisting. There is a point of taking a stance in our own lives that determines the outcome of any and all situations in our lives. I ask the question, what do you do when things don't go your way? Who do you blame when you don't have what you want? Whose permission were you waiting to get to have what you need in your life? And have you really been waiting on a savior to get you out of this mess? For people that know me, they know I talk all the time about the fact that for those who have a Christian belief system, Jesus did his part. It's up to us to move it forward. And when we don't move forward, that again is on us. When we allow ourselves to be duped, to be lied to be bamboozled, to be fooled into what someone wants you to believe about who you are, about what you should be paying attention to, and it ends out working for their benefit, somewhere along the line, something went wrong. Somewhere along the line, we were blaming someone that we should not have been for the situation that we're in. I want you to get a term and I want you to hold it in your mind, and that is Google it. Google it. If someone says something that you don't understand exactly what they mean, or you think, maybe I know and maybe I don't, I'm asking you to Google it. Because people who did not understand made decisions that now fall back on the entire country as well as the world. It has just amazed me how many people did not understand what a tariff was, and that a tariff was not going to hurt the foreign country, but it was going to hurt this country. And as a result, prices have already gone up. I went to the Dollar Tree, and a bag of potato chips that should have cost, at one point it was like $1.48, and then it went up to like $2 or $3. That same bag of potato chips, same bag of potato chips, now costs $5.50. The Dollar Tree, the dollars is no longer a dollar because they are anticipating the rising cost from the distributors and the people that they purchase from. And how somebody was able to convince a large segment of this country that tariffs were for the other guy, didn't realize it was on them. It amazes me. Understanding where we were, this is the other part that is completely amazing to me. Where were you in the pandemic? Or were you so afraid that you could not admit that something was going on that was killing people? Maybe you thought that getting a vaccine or vaccination was the quote unquote Democrats trying to get you. I don't understand it. And so it's not going to help me to try, because in my world and in my life, those things were not true. I work with seniors, and I know how many of them lost their lives due to the effects of COVID, and how we went through that whole pandemic and people never got a clue as to what was going on and what changed the economy and what made you think that it was going to immediately fix itself, or that someone who did nothing was the solution. I don't know. But we are now going to have to fool around and find out. So now, who do you blame when you don't have what you need? Don't put it on the Democratic Party who was trying to help you. I heard someone say that they believed that because at that time, Mr. Trump put his signature on the checks that were sent out during the pandemic, that they thought he paid for that out of his pocket. And that's why they felt loyal to him. Understand who the Treasury Department is. If you don't, Google it. We have got to make up the deficit in what we don't know in order to move in a different direction as opportunity arises. Who were you waiting to get permission from in order to have the life that you want to have? I hear people all the time saying that it took really hard work to get to where I am today. What does really hard work mean? It probably means, or can mean, when somebody was partying, somebody else was reading. When somebody didn't know what to do, they were trying to figure it out. When they didn't have the opportunities that were afforded other people, they got additional jobs. They did something to get out of the situation that they were in. And as I addressed in the previous episode, that does not make you elite. Having information does not make you elite. It makes you informed. And being able to be proactive rather than reactive gives you a little leeway to make a decision on how you want to live your life. If you have spent all of your spiritual life looking for Jesus to do it, wake up. He did his part. It's on you. We've talked about this before. He said, I am going, but I'm going to send to you a helper, a comforter, a guide, a teacher. And that spiritual being is going to lead you into all truth. You need to know the truth because it is that sets you free. So for those who FAFO, now you're going to know what the truth is. The problem is that it now reverberates on people who did understand what the truth is. We talked about getting into the financial side of things. Resisting, meaning holding your stance, not pushing against, because once you push against, there's an equal and opposite effect that pushes back on you. Not pushing against, but standing your ground. And there are a number of people who have determined that standing ground can also mean, from a financial perspective, not purchasing or choosing to purchase from people who can identify with who you are. Looking through, and can we say Google it and find out what corporations were actually involved in funding a lie. Going back, because so many people have talked about Fox News, going back and looking at what happened in the lawsuit about the voting machines with Fox News, because many people did not know. From what I saw, they had one news person, not opinion person, but one news person who gave the story of the billions of dollars that they had to repay to those voting machine companies because they lied. Go back and look at the poll workers who sued Rudy Giuliani and were awarded basically everything that he has. Why? Because it was a lie. So when we begin to look at the lies, and when you've been fed 10 years of lies, you're going to have to research to find the truth. Or you're going to FAFO that what people were trying to tell you was the truth all along. You did not vote in your own interest. You allowed people who discounted you as a minority, as a woman, as an immigrant. And for some immigrants who thought that if I vote with you, you'll like me. Let me explain something to you. And just in case you don't know, I am an African American woman. And there are people from the African American perspective, it doesn't matter how long you've been here, they're not ever going to like you. So, how do you correct a situation? Because you can't take your vote back. You can't walk backwards in your footsteps and have November 5th come up again. The next time November 5th voting comes up, it'll be 4 years from now. But what can we do in the interim? And that part of making your stance and using what you have in your hand right now is what can be done. You have to educate yourself on the areas and aspects that directly affect you. What happens if your mother loses her Social Security? She's going to have to live with you. What happens if you are not a billionaire and you have children that need to be cared for while you're at work? Childcare relates to you. What happens when there is no minimum wage that is a living wage? You are the one who has to continue getting more jobs and more jobs and more jobs to be able to live, as one job used to be able to take care of you. The things that we're going to deal with in the future because of that expression FAFO, you need to learn about. Among those, we're going to be talking about financially, what it takes to build your credit, what it takes to be able to dig yourself out of a hole. How do you enroll in school in order to get an understanding on what you did not know that caused you to cut off your nose to spite your own face and vote against your own interest because you thought a billionaire was going to take care of you? He's not your savior. He doesn't care about you. And if you don't care about yourself, you will not get the help that you need. If you haven't done so, get your Diamond Journey Journal. Begin to build a plan, a step-by-step plan to walk yourself out of the situation that you have FAFO'd and you will find out about. Join me on FanBase and on NoomVibe. Visit my website at www.DrAnitaMc.com. That's DrAnitaMc.com. And join me next time.